The question is, should you sell your KTM or GasGas or Husky because of what's happening overseas with KTM's financial struggles? Is KTM going to look the exact same on the other side of this? I hope they don't. So I don't do these current event videos, and this isn't even necessarily that current. I think they kind of went into like a restructuring process back in December, maybe about a month ago. And here we are, what are we? We're middle of January right now, and I'm just beginning to talk about it. And it's because I've had enough people asking me questions about it. The main question is, should I not buy a KTM, or should I sell my KTM that I've got right now? And I think the answer to that is a resounding no, you shouldn't. So are they in bankruptcy or what's happening? Well, KTM is an Austrian brand. It's a European company, and they're doing like a restructuring process. So it's like a self-administration. It's similar to bankruptcy here in the United States, where it gives them some protection against kind of like the people that they owe money to, so they can kind of figure stuff out inside of the company, figure out how they're going to pay for this stuff, do some restructuring, maybe sell off some debt. Who the heck knows? But they're in that process right now, which gives them some protections to kind of sort some stuff out. KTM is too big to fail, and it's kind of the same thing with the auto industry that happened here in 2009 here in the United States. If you remember back in 2009, General Motors, Chevrolet, and Dodge and Chrysler, those massive companies declared bankruptcy. I think it was June of 2009. And my question is, how many of you guys sold your Chevy trucks or your Dodge trucks or your Chevy cars or your Chrysler and Plymouth cars? How many of you just did a fire sale of your cars at that time? Probably nobody. You still drove that car, and you were still able to get parts for it, and they restructured and figured it out. And I think the same thing's going to happen here. Is KTM going to look the exact same on the other side of this? I hope they don't. I hope they actually do some stuff that is smart to get them out of this situation. KTM has been dumping a bunch of R&D into their motorcycles, which is what we love here on the dirt bike side. But then it looks like they've been making a bunch of really stupid decisions on the back end with administration. Hey, I know I'm busting in the middle here, but if you want to support these videos, use the link right down here for Rocky Mountain ATV, or go to my website, dirtbikechannel.com. There's a shop Rocky Mountain ATV thing right there. Click on that link, and then you can order anything they sell, and it helps what we're doing here. Thanks so much. They've kind of bit off way more than they could chew. Let's look at some of the companies that they own. So the parent company for KTM is Pierre Mobility. And I'm just on their website. They have KTM AG, which is kind of like the KTM thing. They've got KTM Technologies. Under the KTM brand, you've got Husqvarna and GasGas. So there's basically three brands that have almost no differentiation. And then you also have KTM Technologies. I don't know how exactly that fits in. There's the Pierre New Mobility. It's defining the future of electric powered two-wheel mobility. So electric stuff. Then you've got Kiska. Kiska is an international brand design agency. You've got Pierre Innovation. You've got Avocado. They have a bunch of things. There's like all these like electric things that they're doing. Avocado is an established software house for financial solutions, individual developments. You guys can go look at this stuff. The main thing, what I want to say is that I think they bit off way more than they could chew. And a lot of the brands that they brought in, even Husqvarna was not doing well. They were on the verge of bankruptcy. Same thing with GasGas. They weren't doing well. So then you bring in, and again, look, I don't know anything. I don't know anybody at these companies. And I'm not the smartest guy. I just have read a few things. And it's like, GasGas was struggling. Husky was struggling. You bring them in and you think you're going to sell more motorcycles, but there's essentially no differentiation. So now all that really happened, we can really pretty much say that a GasGas is a red KTM and a Husky is a white KTM because there's not enough differentiation. The motors are all the same. Most of the parts on those bikes are the same. So then you bring in these things. GasGas used to be its own thing. Husqvarna used to be its own thing. But now it's just a white KTM and a red KTM. So you're not going to really sell more bikes. And then you have the whole COVID thing where all of a sudden there's this huge demand for outdoor stuff, for like outdoor recreation. And so they like see this huge demand and their eyeballs get huge and they overproduce because they were like, there was a shortage of these bikes in like 2020, maybe 2021. Then they start overproducing these things and now they've got a massive surplus. So as they ramp up their production, at the same time, then people are like actually coming back to reality of like, maybe I don't need a $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 motorcycle because the pandemic is over. And now they've got this huge overlap here. So there's a bunch of inventory sitting at dealers and sitting in warehouses of 23 model year and 24 model year, things that didn't sell. And so it's just like, there's a lot of things that came into this. And again, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it's like demand is back down to mostly normal, but their stock levels are way high. So you've got all this debt, you've got all this unsold inventory, and so now they're doing layoffs, they're doing all this kind of stuff, and it's just kind of sad. But again, I think KTM is too big to fail. This is a billion-dollar, if not a multi-billion-dollar company over there in Austria, and I don't think the Austrian government is going to let them fail. I think they're going to figure this out, and hopefully they come out as a leaner, meaner, better company. Now, there could be, maybe they'll start doing some of their, people have mentioned that they might start doing some of their production in China. I hope that doesn't happen, but guess what? Already a lot of the stuff that is made for a lot of these motorcycles, including Honda and Yamaha and BMW, a lot of that stuff is actually made in China. I hate to tell you guys that, but a lot of this stuff is made in China and then shipped to Japan and then put together, or shipped to Austria and put together. And maybe some more of that production is going to happen in China. I don't know. I just know that a lot of companies are already making their stuff in China, but then assembling it in other places and saying, hey, this is, anyway, the point is, I don't want to get into a political discussion, but like, I do think KTM is too big to fail. I do think right now is a great time to buy a KTM product because there might be some really, really good rebates. I just bought 3 KTM products in the last week. I bought a 250 SXF for my son. I bought a 250 XC for me, and I bought a GasGas EC300 for the very next sweepstakes that I'm going to be doing. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Even if KTM like boarded up its doors here in the next month, which is not going to happen. But even if they did, we would still be able to get aftermarket parts from them. There's a whole huge like ecosystem of parts and aftermarket people that are making parts for this stuff. You'd be able to get parts for your bike for years and years and years to come. By the time you weren't able to get parts for the thing, you would have already worn it all the way out. So, and even that would be the worst case scenario. So much of this stuff, there's so much of a back, like an ecosystem of aftermarket parts around these bikes, and companies like Rocky Mountain ATV and Motorsport and you name it, Slavens Racing, there's a million of these companies that have all these parts for these things. So yeah, I do think it's a good time to go out and buy a KTM or a GasGas or a Husky. Now, I don't know if GasGas or Husky is going to stay under the KTM ownership group. I don't know that they should do that. Certainly some of these electric bikes and some of these other projects, I think they need to actually cut the fat out, and then just get back to making some really awesome motorcycles. But KTM makes a freaking awesome product. So is the Husky, so is the GasGas. It's not like I want any of those brands to go away, but I do think that they should focus on gas motorcycles. I don't think they should be worrying about electric bikes. I don't know if you guys saw what happened with Tadej Blazusiak and Stark, just like today. Today is like January 15th when I'm recording this. He just cut ties with Stark. Like there was something happened at one of these like German GPs or something. You can do some Googling for it. But Tadej was like, boom, I'm done. I'm out of the electric thing, at least with Stark right now. Anyway, some interesting things have happened, but I think KTM just needs to cut the fat and get back to making really good motorcycles and make some good financial decisions and stop just like, stop biting off more than you can chew. So yeah, go out there, find a 2023, 2024 KTM that might still be sitting on a dealer showroom that they're ready to like basically give away to you with a bunch of rebates. Go get that. Go find that bike. That would be a great thing for you. So this could be a great time for a lot of us to get bikes. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Again, like I don't know anyone at KTM corporate. I haven't had a single conversation with anybody at KTM. I'm just reading a few things. I'm talking to dealers, and I think everybody should just kind of chill out a little bit. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think the company's going to survive. That's what I believe. And I think they're going to continue to make some really awesome motorcycles, both in the 2-stroke market and the 4-stroke market. And we've been really lucky to have KTM over the last decade for sure. They've really helped push everything forward in dirt bikes. They had, they've had a bunch of really great motocross years and supercross years. They've had a bunch of, awesome stuff in the off-road market. They're the only ones that have really super pushed the two strokes and kept that going. So that's been awesome. And I don't think it's going anywhere. So anyway, I might have to eat my words on this one, but I don't think so. I think KTM stays around. It's too big to fail. They'll figure this out. They'll cut the fat. And they'll keep making motorcycles. So that's what I got for you guys. If you want to support these videos, one of the best ways you can do it is use the link right down here in the video description. It's for Rocky Mountain ATV. Once you click on that link, you can buy anything they sell at Rocky Mountain ATV for your KTM or your GasGas or your Husky or your Honda or your Kawasaki or even your Suzuki. And once you click that link, anything you buy gives a kickback to me and it helps support the channel. So thanks so much. And until next time, leave a single track.